This portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Well, the government wants to turn North Andros into a college town once the Bahamas Agriculture and Marine Sciences Institute is up and running.
Now, such a move is expected to boost economic activity, thus creating jobs and other opportunities.
Janae Ferguson has more on the island, or the school that is, and its bigger plans for the whole country.
The Bahamas Agriculture, Marine and Science Institute in North Andros is steadily taking shape. It's poised to be the renaissance of agriculture in the country, shifting the tide from expensive imports to self-sufficiency. It's a vision of Prime Minister Perry Christie that has met much criticism, but President of BAMSI, Dr. Godfrey Inias, is confident that the development will drive more people to the country's largest island.
It has a role to not only expand agriculture, but also address the urban drift. We live in a country where 85% of our population live in New Providence and between New Providence and Grand Bahama. This development will exacerbate growth in North Andros.
Dr. Inias furthered that Andros is the 5th largest in the Caribbean, but one of the least developed. He says the institute will serve as a catalyst to create spin-off economic opportunities.
When these buildings are completed, you're going to have faculty on staff, on site. You're going to have students on site. They're going to need amenities. They're going to need food stores. They're going to need places to live, places to worship. And around the institute, a township will develop.
BAMSI officials have already identified some 30 different crops that can feed the entire country if promoted and properly handled. Already plants are beginning to bear fruit, as you can see here. This avocado fruit is ready. It's just one of the samples that will be reproduced when the BAMSI school gets underway.
As the school develops, we're going to actually do some soil testing and actually develop a soils map and a land terrain map so you can know how to grow what you want to grow with the right techniques and style.
We're going to save foreign exchange. That means we're going to create jobs. That means we're going to diversify the agricultural sector. That means we're going to put ourselves in a better position on our nutrition. In essence, it will enhance our independence as a country.
The first BAMSI classes are set to begin on September 29th. Janae Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
Well, it's perhaps the first time we've heard him speak from his heart in such a manner. Island Luck CEO Sept says he thought long and hard about how he would respond to the church if given the opportunity. And when our Clint Watson put the question to him, this time he was ready.
This for us is not a victory. I personally feel, putting my persuasions aside or the fact that I'm an operator, I truly feel that this is the right thing to do, seeing that we have all were guilty of sitting down 50 years, allowing this to flourish into what it is today, and then we come one day and we think that we can just turn it off with a light switch, and it's not a rational point of view.
And for Island Luck CEO Sept, he feels after more than a year on opposite ends and differing views, now is the time to cross the divide and come together. A move he's ready and willing to make.
So I want to work with the Christian community and join forces. But I would have had many talks with the Christian Council leader, Mr. Patterson, and I told him, when this thing passes, we have to work with them. There are going to be some people that need help, and collectively we have to combat that, because we're not going to sit down and say that people will not abuse gambling. But I always told them that the historical data that I have, it shows that the amount of people that gamble, the majority of them do not abuse gambling. So it's not really fair to say deprive people that can control themselves from a practice that they love doing just because you have a small few that can't control themselves.
Bastian suggested in a very sophisticated way a mechanism that will allow Island Luck to assist in helping the Christian church and other organizations.
We're going to have a very technological system where we can detect, because we know our customers and they're only allowed to have one account with us. We can detect them now and we can identify who the problem gamblers are. And we just want to share that data with authorities, Christian community, and we'll find all sorts of ways and programs. And I want to set programs up along with the church to assist, and not just problem gambling, because there's other vices in our country. We always think that once we've solved the gambling problem, we've saved the Bahamas, and let's get our head out of the sand. That's not the case.
Bastian says he wants to be a part of helping his country and does not want to be seen as an enemy of the church.
At the end of the day, we're all Bahamians, and we still have to be our brother's keepers and help them whenever we can.
Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
Well, the implementation of value-added tax next year might increase the demand on social services as the cost of living in the country is expected to increase by some 3 to 4%. Social Services Minister Melanie Griffin says they have already seen an increase in demand for assistance with the opening of the new school year, but she says government is prepared.
If there's an increase in the demand, we will do whatever we need to do in order to meet that increase in demand. So we don't, perceive any major problems in that regard. We have been working diligently on the new social safety net reform project, which includes the conditional cash transfer, and we expect at least the first modernization project or pilot to be put in place by late October, November.
Now, plans are progressing for the implementation of a unified busing system. This after years of complaints from motorists and the public about the level of service and traffic congestion on the streets. Transport State Minister Hope Strachan says right now they're taking a look at the cost factor involved.
To sort of put a cabinet paper together, go to cabinet to seek approval for us to proceed with the model that has been studied for us, which is the formation of a public-private partnership under the auspices of a corporation where shares would be issued. And that is the reason why we really need to value the industry, because then the persons who are involved in the industry, value would have to be given to them. If it is that based on the model that we are pursuing, they have to be paid out, or they have to be issued shares, or whatever mode we decide to take. It's important to know where exactly we are in terms of the value of it and what it's going to cost us to actually implement the unification system.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
This is your Royal Fidelity Business News Tuesday. I'm Altaviz Munnings. The Embassy of the United States here in Nassau advising members of the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employers Confederation on the important issues of the imposition of sanctions as a result of Russia's ongoing violations of Ukraine's sovereignty. According to the Chamber's website, Bahamian businesses are advised by embassy officials not to take advantage of such violations and should keep current on the list of sanctioned individuals and companies. The Minister of State for Finance, the Honorable Michael Halkitis, will deliver the keynote address at the 11th Annual Abaco Business Outlook that's set for September 24th at the Great Abaco Beach Resort in Marsh Harbor. Chief Organizer and TCL Group President Joan Albury confirmed that the day-long symposium will focus on new opportunities created by recent developments in infrastructure, tourism, and the interpretation and management of Abaco's abundant natural and historical sites to create new attractions while contributing to their preservation. And in international business news, U.S. bookstore chain Barnes & Noble says falling demand for its Nook e-book readers dented sales in its first quarter. Revenues from its Nook division fell 54.3% to $70 million compared to the same period last year. Bookstore and online revenues also fell by 5.3% to $955 million for the 3 months to August. And that's Tuesday's edition of your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm Altaviz Munnings.